Again, in this lesson, we are going to talk about making a transmission rate for our epidemic model. So if you recall in the last video, we created a set of turtles, 400 blue and 4 red. We scattered them. And then we told them to wiggle walk with a parameter, and we told them that if they collide with another turtle, they need to check to see whether that turtle is red. And if that turtle is red, they set their color to red as well. And here's what that looks like very quickly. Set it up and you hit play and speed it up just a little bit so they can see it happening. And you can see that every time a blue turtle collides with a red turtle, they turn red. It's also important to remember that every time a red turtle collides with another red turtle, it also turns red. It just so happens that since it's already red, we don't see that happen. So now we are going to add a transmission slider to make this a little more nuanced. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create the slider. And you create a slider by clicking Edit Interface. And then you say you're going to create a widget. And in this case, there's lots of widgets we can create, but we are going to create a slider widget. I'm going to slide that slider widget down, and I'm going to click it. I'm going to change the name to transmission rate. I'm going to set the minimum at 0, and I'm going to set the maximum at 100. And you can see that you can also change the steps too. So we are setting it at 100 simply because we want to have it be thought of as a percentage, but we could just as easily set it to 10 and set the steps to 1/10, and we would accomplish the same thing. But just for ease of thinking about it, we're going to set it to 100. And then I just click out of here, and then I have to remember to once again lock the interface. And so now I have this slider that you see can go between 1 and 100, and you can see how the numbers change as it does. So we have this slider, but the slider is not doing anything yet. Even if we set it up and we say the transmission rate is only 1%, you can see that every time a red turtle collides with a blue turtle, they change colors. So why is that? That is because we haven't actually coded the transmission rate into our code yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to this collision block, and we're going to add a little more logic to it. So you go to your logic, and we're going to say, we're going to take a percentage chance. So we'll take out a percentage chance, and then we are going to need a transmission slider block. So we go to interface, which is where you find all things kind of widget related, and here's your slider value, and pull that out. I'm going to pop it in there. We're going to say with a transmission rate slider value chance. And then we're going to take our command, pull it in here, and pop it into our block. So now, what does this say? It says, I'm a turtle, and I'm wiggling along, because that's what I'm doing, and I encounter another turtle. Now, the first thing I'm going to check is if the color of the turtle that I'm hitting is red. If the answer is no, then we stop there and we keep moving on. However, if the answer is yes, then we come down to the next thing. We say, with a transmission slider chance, set my color to red. So what does this mean? This means that basically every time it encounters another turtle that's red, it's going to roll a 100-sided die. And basically, depending on the amount of percentage chance, tells us whether we are going to have a red or a blue turtle. So what you might expect, if we keep the transmission rate all the way at 1, you should see, oh, haha, what did I forget to do? I forgot to run the code. Let's try that again. So now you should see that these red turtles are hitting lots of blue turtles, but they aren't changing colors. And so what, of course, you would expect is that 1 out of every 100 times or so, they might actually pass on their red trait. Now, the nice thing about a slider is that we don't have to stop it and rerun the code. We can simply pull the transmission rate up. So let's just, for effect, we'll go all the way to 100%, which is basically right where it was before we added the slider. And now you can see that red is spreading quite significantly. But then if I pull it back to a more reasonable level of transmission, we should have blues lasting a little bit longer. Whoop. So this is something for you to try. Create your own transmission rate slider, add it to your code, and then you can play with your transmission of the red epidemic. Happy coding.